Hi, I'm Meg Tucker from Cook with Meg. Let's make a cream sauce together. It's an easy sauce, but it's such a good sauce that can take you in 100 different directions. Making a cream sauce or a white sauce, a basic white sauce, sometimes known as a bechamel, sounds confusing, but it really isn't. It's just 5 ingredients. And the main ingredients are butter, flour, and milk. That's it. You need flour, butter, or a fat, and you need a liquid. When you put it all together, it makes this beautiful, thick, delicious sauce. So let's get started. As far as tools are concerned, I would recommend a saucepan. Obviously, this is a little bit wider and bigger. It's called an everyday pan, but I really do enjoy it because it allows me to kind of be open and showing you. I also have a whisk, but I'm going to be mindful that my surface is non-stick. So I'm gonna just be careful when I do the whisking. I also have a spatula. Those who have cooked with me before know I love a good silicone spatula. And I've got a knife for my flour, and we're gonna start with some butter. So if you are not a butter family, you have margarine, absolutely this will work. We need 2 tablespoons of butter or margarine, and we're gonna put that right down into a saucepan. Now I know because I'm using a stick of butter exactly what 2 tablespoons net out to be, 1 and 2. But if you are using measuring spoons, you are more than welcome to take your measuring spoon, scoop out the margarine, level it off with a knife so that you're getting that accurate measurement and getting that down into your saucepan. So 2 tablespoons of butter. We're gonna turn on the burner here. We're gonna go about a medium low. This is not very much fat to melt, so we don't need a huge amount, but we're probably gonna go about medium low to heat. So this is an induction burner, and this guy goes 1 to 10. I've got it on about a 4 right now. It doesn't need a huge high heat, and we're already seeing that that butter is starting to melt. Okay, butter melting, we can move on and get our flour ready to go. We need equal parts fat and flour. That is going to combine to make what's called a roux, R-O-U-X. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my flour. You can do it that way. I'm just putting it into this measuring cup because I have it. But if you want to be more specific, you can take a knife. We're going to dunk our tablespoon down into the flour. We're going to flip the knife over so you can see it's on that flat spot. And we're just going to drag it across the top of the flour so we know that we're getting a good even tablespoon. And there is my flour. You can have this ready to go, waiting in a little bowl before you start. That would be called sort of prepping your ingredients. Or if you're making this on the fly, you can just get your flour measured, 2 tablespoons, while your 2 tablespoons of butter happen to be melting. So that's essentially what we're doing. And by the way, this butter today is unsalted. You use what you have. Salted butter totally works. Unsalted butter, absolutely fine. Margarine, it works. It's all going to work in the end. We just need to get it melted before we get that flour combined. So let's talk a little bit about a roux and what is a roux. It's almost like a little bit of a paste, like a pasty, doughy consistency that needs to happen before we add the liquid. So it's 2 tablespoons of flour, 2 tablespoons of fat, butter, and 1 cup of liquid. When you put that all together, it gets super happy and super glossy and becomes a basic white sauce. Let's just move a couple of these things out of the way so we've got a little room to move here. All right, my butter is beautifully melted. So once it's melted, we are literally going to take our flour and we're going to sprinkle it like snow over the butter. Now I'm going to start using my whisk. Again, I'm going to be mindful here because I don't want to scratch this surface. I'm going to use these pots and pans many, many, many times. But watch what's happening. This heat might be a little high, so you want to go medium-low. We need to make the butter and the flour turn into this gloopy, I'm going to call it a paste. And we're going to continue to let this cook for a minute or two. Same heat, medium-low, but we want to do something that's called cooking the rawness out of the flour. So if I were to scoop this up right now on my whisk, you can actually see that it's kind of gloopy. Technical term. That's okay. We're gonna keep that spatula moving, and we're just gentle pressure cooking the rawness out of the flour. While that happens, I actually do want to get my milk ready to go. And to this, we need 1 cup of milk. So let's get that measured out. Whether it's a pourable measure or the measuring cup you saw me use for the flour, a nice, even, level cup of milk. Whether it's milk, whether it's cream, whether it's milk and half, evaporated milk, it all will work. We're gonna continue to give this a little cook. And the goal here when you make a roux is the starting point that is going to help thicken our sauce. What we're doing is we're cooking out the rawness of the flour. If we were to just let this milk dump in at this stage, the sauce would still be fine, but it would have a little bit of a raw flour taste, and we want to cook it. We want that flour to almost develop like a yummy, nutty flavor. And if you will do me a favor, because you're doing this too right now, lean in. Okay, it smells so good. Give it a little smell. All I'm starting to smell is that butter toasting, the milk solids that are in the butter, they're starting to toast. And the flour is actually developing this really nutty, delicious smell. It's amazing. The other goal when you make a roux, again, equal parts fat and flour, is that we don't want to develop a lot of color, not for a white sauce. Now, if you have ever eaten or made jambalaya, dish from New Orleans, that has a roux that gets cooked and cooked and cooked and cooked and cooked until it is such a dark caramel color. That's not what we want to do for a white sauce. We don't really want to develop any toasty color. We just want to have a little bit of a toasty smell. So this has been maybe a minute or so. I've got my milk, 1 cup, and watch what's going to happen. We're going to very slowly whisk in the milk. This is cold milk. I didn't use room temperature. So when it hits the hot butter and flour, it immediately goes, ooh, like it shivers, and it starts to do, I want to say it almost seizes up a little bit. It sort of starts to thicken almost immediately. Within a couple of seconds here, it's starting to kind of look like porridge. So we're just going to go in with the rest of the milk. That's 1 cup. And we're going to we clean as we go here. If you get a little spill, just take a sec, give it a little wipe. And we're gonna keep that heat on medium-low, and we're just gonna do little swirls. We're making a small batch of cream sauce. We're not making a ton. If you wanted to make a really bigger batch, obviously you could double everything up. You could do 4 tablespoons of butter or margarine, 4 tablespoons of flour, 2 cups of milk. But for today, we're just making a small batch, and something magical is happening, friends. We are literally making a cream sauce right before your very eyes. What we need to do is we need to carefully whisk and get out any lumpy bumpies. So I'm just using a very light pressure because this is non-stick. The heat is on medium-low. Out of 1 to 10, it's on a 3. It's not very high. And what I'm seeing happening is not only is the flour and the butter melting into the milk, but it's grabbing hold of that protein, and it is becoming a silky sauce, which is amazing. Guys, we've pretty much already made a white sauce. So I'm gonna keep mixing. I wanna grab my spatula because I wanna show you, oh yeah. You can switch to a spatula at any point. If it's way more comfortable for you to use a spatula, awesome. I also really believe that a spatula gives me like great satisfaction because you can move it around the pan. You can do this motion and really like squish it down to the bottom of your pan. This is looking absolutely gorgeous. We basically have a white sauce. Literally while things cook, I start to do my cleanup. It's just a good practice and a good habit to get into. So this is looking amazing, but it will need a little touch of salt and a little touch of pepper. So before I go in for a taste, I am going to just give, I call it like a 2-finger pinch. So my thumb and my index finger, this is a little salt keeper. If you don't have a salt keeper, maybe you have a salt shaker, it's always a good idea to shake a little bit in your hand and then put a little pinch in. I have a little baby spoon, so I'm just gonna dip in and grab a little pinch of salt. And I have pepper, a couple little cracks of pepper. We're gonna give this another good stir. And then I wanna grab a spoon. This is the fun part about cooking. You get to taste what you have made. So let's give this a little taste. It's going to be very hot. Dip your spoon in, move it off of the pan. It's really good. It does need a little more salt. Remember I said I used unsalted butter. So because I used unsalted, it doesn't have really any salt, and all recipes need a little bit. So there it is, friends. We have made a white sauce. Heat turns off. This can be used on its own in pasta. You've got a beautiful cream sauce. If you wanted to take this up a notch, you could add some shredded cheese to it. You could add Parmesan cheese and make it an Alfredo sauce. You could add shredded mozza, shredded cheddar, whatever cheese you have happening in the fridge. That could take this from a white sauce or a cream sauce into the world of a cheese sauce or a Mornay sauce. Very simple. I hope you guys enjoyed making a very basic white sauce or a cream sauce. For more cooking, cookwithmeg.com. And I hope that you remember one thing. We are awesome. It's what we say at the end of every class, and I really mean it. Guys, enjoy your dinner. See you later.